Hi guys, it's that time of year. December Daily has begun and I am starting with my title page. Now, I had this idea based on Studio DIY's Clutch of the Month for December, which is this gorgeous square red and pink present looking clutch, and I really loved that, so I wanted to try and replicate it in paper for the cover of my album. So I've just started out. I had some of this glittery pink paper and I have trimmed down some 3/4 inch strips, and then I'm cut this other piece that I have sent through my Silhouette. I found a 3D bow file in the Silhouette store, and I just altered that a little bit so that it will fit my album size, and it trimmed that out of the glitter paper. It trimmed out no problem, much better than I thought it would. It actually went better through the Silhouette than the strips did through my paper trimmer. So I've trimmed that out and I'm going to form that into the 3D bow, and I'm just adding a few little foam squares underneath there. I'm not peeling the backing off them, I'm not using them as actual stickers. I just want them there as a little bit of padding to make sure that the 3D-ness of this bow doesn't get flattened in my album. So you can see how easy it is to put the bow together, and I love the 3D look. It's so pretty, and with that foam there, it's never going to be squished flat. It's always going to have that little bit of depth, which I love. Now I had to pick a red paper for the actual base of it, and I had a couple to choose from, and then you saw I had a piece of red card, and I didn't love the solidness of the red card, so I picked this pattern paper. And when I flipped it over, I realized I had actually bought this paper for the cut apart on the other side. So I'm just being strategic about where I cut my 6x8 piece out of. And the other thing to note is this: I'm not actually cutting a 6x8 piece. I'm using the page protector and cutting the full size of the page protector, so it is a little bit larger than 6x8. This page is not going in a page protector, it's going to be a page of itself. So I wanted it to cover up the sides of the page protector there. So as I said, I was just being strategic to cut that out of the cut apart sheet so that it left me some whole cards that I can use in my album, and I've just used some of these ones that I know I won't miss having there. Now, because this isn't a double-sided paper that I like both sides of, and it's got those sort of half cut out cut aparts on the other side, I do end up backing this with that red card that I had pulled out of my stash anyway, and it actually worked out for the best because that red card is quite sturdy. So with these two bits glued together, I end up with a really sturdy page, which will take a lot of opening and closing, which obviously being the first page in this book, it is going to need to be reasonably sturdy. Now I'm gluing my glitter strips down on top here, just eyeballing the placement of it, being careful not to cover up the hole that I've punched there. Adding my bow, which is a mistake because I'm going to add these strips onto the back side as well, so it looks like one present that's being wrapped. Which I've made more difficult for myself because I stuck that bow down and it is 3D and I'm trying not to squish it. So I then have to try and work from the back, which, I mean, it's not perfect, but when you flip the page over, you definitely get the idea of it. Now this worked much better. I glued and just lined it up on that side, and you can see it's much easier than the way I first tried to do it. And that is the base for my title page. Now, I don't really want to put like a title on here or anything, but I did think that I wanted to maybe put 2018. Because I don't have a spine on this album, I'm using some clear covers from the stamp spot, so there isn't a place on the spine to put a date or anything. I decided I did want to add some little alphas on here. I went with gold, and I went with these really tiny thickers. The other stickers I had were a little bit big, but I also like the 3D-ness of these foam stickers too. And that's it. That's my title page all done. Super simple. I know this is going to be a theme for this album because I don't have a lot of time this December. So simple and sparkly, I think, is how I'm going to describe it. While I had all my bits and pieces out on my desk, I decided that I would do an intentions page as well. When I was looking through my older albums before I started this year, I literally could have copied last year's intentions word for word. So I did, I've typed out my intentions in Photoshop. So what I'm intending to do is pick out a piece of paper from this Merry Days 6x8 pad. And I've picked the lightest one that I could find. While that's printing, I'm going to just trim out this other one, and the shape that I'm trimming both of these pages is this I think it's 8x4.5 inch tag die. It's from the nesting tag die set from scrapbook.com. I love this huge tag size, it's so cool. So this is actually going to be the back side of my intentions page. I love that jingle all the way, and it just made it so easy because all I'm going to do is just die cut this out. One thing I didn't realize when I bought these tag dies is I have a Cuttlebug, and this tag is too big for the regular Cuttlebug plates. So I did end up having to buy the extended plates so that I could actually cut out these tags. So that is my first tag, the back half of my tag cut out, and you can see I have run this 6x8 page through my printer, and all I need to do is just line it up on the tag. I could have cut this tag and then run it through my typewriter, but you'll know that when I do that, the typing's a little bit messier, and I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to fit all of my words on the tag here. So I did do that in Photoshop, just measured out the size of the tag and typed that in so I knew it was going to fit. And once I've die cut that out with that tag die, I have got my front and back of my intentions page. I could leave it like this, but I decided to add a little bit of embellishment to it. I've got the Calm and Bright, I think is the name of the set. Now this was the stamp set for Christmas last year from Brandy Kincaid and Feed Your Craft. And I just love this. Probably has one of my favorite Christmas stamps on it, which is this this wreath stamp. I don't know if it's called a wreath, no, garland I think is the name of it, isn't it? And so I knew I wanted to put that on the top there. I thought it would look really cute, stamped in green across the top of my page. So I've just stamped that up, and you do have to add a little bit onto the end, but as you can see, it looks really nice. I've got some Merry Days die cuts, and I actually found this Fa La La chipboard sticker sheet from last year in my stash. So I pulled that out because it does have all those pretty pinks and reds and greens and golds that I loved. And I really love this this sticker here. It's a little house. It's not too snowy, I guess, but I loved the pinkness of it and thought it went really nice on the page. I wanted to add some other little embellishments, but I've used all those gold stars from that sheet. So I went through my December daily stash and pulled out a few stickers, and I end up using these puffy hearts from Ellie's Studio. They've got that same sort of bright pink and bright red as the sticker, and it goes really nicely with the inside of my cover, the pink glitter paper and the red there, which because they're going to be next to each other, it does matter that that they match. So I'm adding 2 hearts down by the house, 1 up the top to give me a little visual triangle. And again, I've made another mistake because I haven't hole punched this page. It does need to go into my album. So I'm going to punch it, and I probably should have done that before I put all the stickers on it. Those chipboard stickers are super thick, so it did make it a tiny bit difficult. Same goes with attaching the back. So I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. I'm just gluing just with some tape runner onto the back side, and then I'll have to carefully attach the front to it because I can't lay it flat because of those silly stickers. So rookie mistake. There we go. I'm not adding any twine or ribbons or anything to the tag at the moment. I may well go back and add that later. It just, to be honest, this was early in the morning and it didn't even occur to me to put something through the hole. So for now it's going to stay as it is. I'm sure that I'll have bits and pieces of ribbons and twines left over as I go through this month. So I'm sure I'll go back and fill it in later. A little bit of decoration on the back. I just wanted to add a little bit of that pink and red colour, so I'm adding some of those little circle stickers from that same set in the red and pink and green, and that is it. So you can see how it sits in my album here. It perfectly matches those colours and I'm really pleased with it. Before I go, I thought I'd give you a look at my album. What I've added to my binder rings is I've made a little tassel full of all the pretty trims and ribbons that I had that I thought matched my colours. There's a couple of tassels in there. There's a wee chain that's got a heart charm on the back of it. I just love it. These black rings on my album are way too big at the moment, but as I fill in this month, I suspect that they will be just the right size. If not, I will change them later. The only other things I've got in here so far is this advent calendar that I made with some Kelly Stamps digitals, though it needs the back filled in obviously. And I had made this envelope from Feed Your Craft stamp that I'd stitched onto an envelope to keep my cards in, my Christmas cards this year. So that's it, that's all that's in my album so far, but you can look forward to me filling up a few more pages as we go along. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!